Today I want to take a look at Ainz Ooal Gowns' favorite spell, Grasp Heart. This was a viewer's request, so I hope you're happy. Anyway, let's get started by theorizing about why Grasp Heart is his favorite spell. Well, first and foremost, it really fits his theme as an undead overlord, a being of absolute authority. Grasp Heart enables Momonga to eliminate anyone that causes him displeasure with just one hand movement. No drawn-out battle, no struggle, no discussion. It's over with a single gesture. A spell truly befitting a guild master. And while back in Yggdrasil under Suzuki Satoru, the human guild leader, decisions were usually made via simple majority vote, as 41 voting guild members will always end up with a decision, in character as Momonga, Suzuki Satoru would be in charge of everything, for he is an overlord, who truly reigns supreme over his guild. Serve him in life, or die and serve him in death. Momonga won't care. But what was just role-playing in his world became reality in the new one, and in addition to being an insta-death spell that really befits his roleplay build, Ainz's favorite spell has another effect, which made it really well suited for actual battle. Even if resisted, the enemy is stunned for a short amount of time. This was neatly illustrated in his first actual kill. He didn't know how strong, or rather how weak, this knight was compared to him, so the overlord relied on the stun effect of his favorite spell in order to make an escape if necessary. Needless to say that Momonga crushed the knight's heart without any effort. But please imagine anyway how it might have played out if this was a strong adversary. Or even better, imagine you're a random level 100 player that was transported to the new world, only to pick a fight with Ainz for some stupid reason. Just imagine that the undead king himself reaches into your very body, and you suddenly felt a gaping pitch-black void at the place where your heart used to be. In terror, you look at the looming sorcerer king before you, your vulnerable heart in his skeletal hand. You feel his undead energy engulfing it. You feel the cold, unrelenting bone touching it. And this is the point where you're finally able to resist the spell. And thusly you're stunned for a set amount of time. I mean, if the psychological trauma isn't enough, the sudden absence of the blood pump will cause your cardiovascular system to briefly power down. If you're anything like our favorite emperor, you might know the feel of standing up way too sudden. You feel dizzy, and your dizziness is due to the reason that your circulatory system wasn't able to switch fast enough from lying idle around to resisting Earth's gravity while standing. This delay in your body's response will cause insufficient blood pressure for a brief amount of time. Now imagine the effect if your heart is suddenly absent for a few seconds. Yeah, you will definitively need a moment to recover from this physical and mental shock. I mean, you literally escape death by a hair's breadth. But this also raises a question. If Ainz Ooal Gown can kill anything instantly, why didn't Ainz end his duel with Shallya Bloodfallen a few pages earlier by simply using Grasp Heart? Well, it wouldn't have worked against Shallya. Normal death spells will kill living beings instantly by invoking the status of death, usually by setting the HP to 0. But undead beings take damage from healing magic and regenerate from negative energy. By that logic, insta-death spells should completely restore the health of any undead, or even revive them. Thusly, this ability would be completely broken, so instead of being affected by it in any way, shape or form, undead beings are completely immune to it. And even if undead beings were susceptible to such spells, it still wouldn't have worked on Shallya, because she is strong enough to resist such spells by merit of her stats alone. And while the stun effect would be quite nice, Ainz likely has other more potent spells to achieve this outcome. Additionally, there's a lot of equipment that might block the effect of insta-death spells. For example, despite being extremely weak by Nazarick standards, Nazreen, one of the leaders of the demi-human tribes of the Abelian Hills, survived an insta-death spell handed out by Ainz himself, simply because she wore jewelry. So while extremely decisive when effective, insta-death magic rarely is effective at all. But there's one thing that can negate each and every layer of protection against insta-death magic: Ainz Ooal Gowns' final ace in the hole: The goal of all life is death, a skill so extremely rare that Ainz likely discovered it together with his Eclipse class. Granted, other guilds might also have known about this ability and simply didn't share the information, but still it's quite the discovery. Being an Overlord with mastery over ghost magic will grant you access to the Eclipse class, which contains the spell. The only form of defense against this skill is A. to eliminate the caster during the extremely long casting time, or any skill, ability, or item that will revive you after you have been killed. Both Ainz Ooal Gowns and Shall Your Blood Fallen are in possession of such an item, though Ainz didn't equip his in order to strengthen his resolve. But then still the question remains. Why didn't Ainz use his favorite spell against Shaltir in this duel? Well, the reason for this is Einherjar, a warrior copy of Shaltir, and her many minions. Shaltir had summoned those in order to heal herself via her HP draining lance. Remember, friendly fire is on, so by buffing and extending the reach of Cry of the Banshee, an area of effect insta-death spell, he can and he will annihilate everything around him. And I literally mean everything. The air around him was so charged with death that any living creature breathing it would simply die and disintegrate. Think of Thanos' snap, only much more graphic and agonizing. So let's talk about what Grasp Heart would do if buffed by the goal of all life is death. Well, it would be able to kill every single being regardless of protection, unless we are talking about a world-class item that is specifically designed to prevent such effects. And the dead carcass resulting from Ainz Ooal Gowns' even more potent Grasp Heart spell would likely kill everything it touches. Alternatively, it might kill you so dead that you reincarnate as an abortion. And I bet somebody in Ainz's guild went along with that joke and created Victim. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Have a nice day. Over and out.